BPM friends, welcome to another special episode of BPM Girls here on DECA's YouTube channel in Brazil. Today, I have an incredible opportunity to receive as our guest to join us in this conversation, Olga, straight ahead from Poland. I had the pleasure to meet her at the BPM conference of 2024 in Krakow. And after seeing her presentation there, we talked during the lunch a little bit. And I was very anxious to bring her here to share her experience as a BPM Center of Excellence leader with us here in Brazil. So Olga is a true leader in a real BPM office with a remarkable experience, also with process mining. So please give a warm welcome to Olga. Olga, thank you very much for being here with us today. It's my pleasure to have you here, and I'm sure that this conversation will inspire many women looking to grow in the BPM field. So thank you very much, and please introduce yourself.
Okay, so hello, and I would say for the first, my first word will be obrigada. Do I say it correctly? I hope. If not, just please tell me that I will try to improve myself there. And yeah, so my name is Olga, and I'm really very, very happy to be here today with you, Andrea. It was really nice to meet you during the Business Process Conference in Poland. And yeah, I'm really excited to, to have this interview with you and to share some maybe information which I hope might be very important, or maybe help someone to be better in business process management, or just to inspire someone, or maybe some women also. So yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very honored to be here with you today.
Thank you, Olga. Olga, let's start talking a little bit about your career. How did you first come into contact with the BPM field? How was your first experience with this topic? Tell us a little bit about it, please.
So my history is quite long, I would say, because right now I'm an IT manager, and I conduct the team who is responsible for process optimization, especially in operations area. And I mean, these operations are quite big, because this is more like 700 people and more than 200 processes right now. And we are in IT. I was in the beginning of my career, I was project manager and IT project manager. And then because of this, I have this, wide range opportunity of seeing what is going on within the company. There was one project which I conducted as a project manager, and it was about let's do something with data that we have from the IT systems, and just use this data to optimize processes. So it was in 2019, I believe. So 6 years, more or less 6 years ago, it was my first connection with process mining. Yeah. And I didn't know process mining, and we didn't know process mining in Poland, because in fact, I was probably the first who introduced process mining in Poland. So
wow,
yeah, so it was,
that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
so
are
it was,
yeah,
I kind of course. Yeah, kind of. And of course, the people who are also involved with me at my work, of course. Yeah, but it was so it was like a really great journey. After that, after the project, we have decided internally that we want to, do something bigger about it, do something big about it. And we because it was an opening space for a managerial position there because of that. So I also raised my hand, and I also was the person who was picked to do the job. So it was 6 years ago, and it was like that. My team first was one person, only one person, so it was really small team. But also we collaborate with one or two, sometimes three people from data science team also, just to help us to do the pre-processing of the prepared data for process mining and so on.
Olga, why business process management? Why did you choose to work with process? What is the main point that bring it to your attention?
Okay, so I think that it was because I was totally fascinated by process mining. It was, like a kind of a merging, like analysis, merging with technical solutions, with asking a lot of people many questions, with having a contact with another people, having different approaches, because in fact there is like every process is different. So it's very I would say I was very curious how we how we work on those processes, what we in fact do to make it all happen, that our organization is thriving and so on. And it was something new. And I think I just feel the vibe. I just feel I have to do it. It's real. It might be something great to do. And it was a challenging, and it was a great challenge. So that's why, in fact, it is also that right now I think it was a very, very good choice for me, because I think it's great to have this opportunity to make something better, for people. I mean, for people who are working in an organization, but also for our internal, external clients. Yes, so satisfied with my job.
And Olga, nowadays that you have a leadership position, you manage a BPM Center of Excellence. How is it? How is a typical day in your routine as a manager? Can you share a little bit about this experience?
Yes. So maybe to answer this question, I would tell you something maybe more about the history of my team and how we work, because we went through I think three breakthroughs, I would say. So the beginning for us was to we're focused only with process mining. So we tried everyone to be process mining, to use process mining, to try to do something from analysis, to analyze those processes, to make a pipeline, to get data from our systems to the process mining tools and so on. So we make the data visible for others. And it was like everything then. It was I would say 6 years ago. It was our main approach then. Yeah. So our days were really focused on that. Then my team was bigger and bigger, and we started to combine people who have skills also with leaning skills, like to lean processes, to do the Gemba walks, to conduct workshops, optimization workshops, and so on, and to work closer with subject matter experts, and but also to combine it with this process mining approach. And we started to have big projects. So our typical day was to have the daily in the beginning, just to say what we have to do today, what kind of project, what kind of workshops we have, what kind of insights we have the previous day or the day before, whatever, and what kind of obstacles we have, and so on. And we try to somehow make it all work to be able to make this optimization happen. And right now we want to go even farther. I would say that right now we want to also to work in these projects, but we take not only one process, but we want to take some whole area of processes in certain area in operations, and we want to have the optimization strategy for it. And the second part is also that we want to make the whole architecture of the solution that we think it will be sufficient for process optimization, and we want to create whole architecture for it. So it requires us right now to have to gain some new skills. for that. And and I think it would be a great opportunity also for our organization to have even better this kind of team, of course, and to have even better optimizations in the processes, but also for the team just to develop the new skills and be up to date, up to our new reality that we are in. Yeah.
Olga, you were talking about this journey, and I remembered your presentation at BPM conference. You mentioned a phrase that's always in my mind. You said, please don't sell process mining. Please sell solution to process problems. And I never forgot about it. So when you mentioned the journey, I remembered this. So it's a slogan in my mind nowadays.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yes, because we have like a lot of problems because of it, in fact. Yeah. So that we want to, sell this process mining somehow, where I think I do a lot of mistakes then. And it's like normal that if you do something, you just like make mistakes, but it's very important to learn from them. So yeah, that's why this statement.
Olga, regarding the BPM Center of Excellence, can you mention a kind of a good practice that you have there, or something that you tried that you worked very well for your team, some practice that you have, or some kind of templates or suggestions for the routine of a business process management office?
Yeah, so I think that two things. The thing that the more holistic like approach you have within your team, it's like the better, because you can somehow do the analysis, make the try to somehow create the solution, then try to tell other people how to do it, and then try to have money to do it. So be able to organize everything around it, so the whole ecosystem, to make it happen. Because otherwise I think it is very hard, especially when other teams has like a lot of things to do, but there is like the optimization, it's not their first priority. So we have to do everything we can to make this optimization happen. And of course not everything is is that we have the influence to build for example the whole optimization. But still, if we have a great idea, if we know where to go to address this solution, and if we know how to make politics so called about this about the change that we want to provide, I think that the probability that something will change within the process is much bigger than if we do the analysis and tell somebody, okay, you have it, and you can go somewhere and try to make it happen.
Olga, one of the goals of this kind of interview here in BPM Girls Project is to show the women in Brazil that we have women also in leadership positions in BPM Center of Excellence now all over the world. So you are showing us that you can have it in Poland. That's very far away from Brazil. But how about the experience of hold a leadership position in the BPM field? How you feel in this position? As a human, do you have any kind of challenge to maintain this kind of leadership role? Can you discuss a little bit about your impressions about it?
Yeah. So I think that I didn't have like the really like problems because I am a woman. My supervisor is a woman, and then our director is also a woman. So maybe that's why. but I think it's like that I work in very healthy, I would say, organization. So it's like not a problem for us, even if I work in IT department. So they was like there was no issue for me in that field. But I think that we sometimes, as a woman, sometimes have our struggles, and I have this insight that because somehow started to believe last year that I started to believe that I don't have the influence in one point. I just don't want to tell you maybe the whole story, but still that I don't have the influence in one part that make me believe, and that this belief make me make me not see the opportunities that were, so I just, because I don't have this belief in, and maybe I also like have a lack of belief in myself. It was like that I didn't see the opportunities, and I think that some of the breakthrough or the changes that I can have, I could have with my team, I could have it earlier. But because of that, I was blind to it because of my, the way of thinking, the way of I was thinking. So I think it's and someone told me this, that maybe, Olga, you are too harsh on yourself. So maybe you shouldn't be just you shouldn't feel this way. And yeah, and it was like the really like a great insight for me that sometimes we need to, as women, and maybe I think that men do not struggle this way, that maybe sometimes we need to be better for ourselves and be like just believe in ourselves more. So
it's very interesting that you are mentioning these points, because with my experience here in Brazil as a professor and a mentor of many women, I usually to see a problem of confidence. Many times, oh, I'm not sure, Andrea, that I can do that. I don't believe I'm already prepared. I think that I have to read 3 more books or do 5 more courses and blah, blah, blah. And we are never feeling ready to be in the leadership position, right? I think that's a typical women problem we have, and all of us, of course. So.
And I think that the most important part is just to do it, and then just to start doing it. And because when you start doing it, you start to learn, you start to have some insights about it, and you can make some adjustments to be better. And you don't have to be ideal. I mean, I think it's like human thing that we want to some of us, of course, not everyone, but some of us just want to be perfect with everything that we do, and it's not working that way. It's sometimes, like every time, probably it's better to just start and not be perfect, but just to start and then see what is happening.
Olga, I believe that with this interview, you will be an inspiration for many girls and women here in Brazil. And so I would like to ask about your inspirations. Who inspires you professionally in BPM field? Which person you look at him, watch her, I don't know, and think, oh my God, this person can teach me, I can learn, I can observe, and I can learn with them. Can you mention some kinds of inspiration?
Yes, I have like particularly one or two person, like maybe two persons who I'm working with, and fortunately, and they are like the people mainly from IT. I would say field, not only business process management, but I think it's good because one is a woman and one is a man, and I think that they did a great like they have the great careers, and they also have they just to know how to establish the ecosystem, like to achieve any goal that they would have. And I think this is very inspirational for me. And and also I think that they are very good managers, so I can learn from them how to be a good manager, because I'm in the field of management like 5 years, so it's not that long, I would say.
Olga, for those people who want to work with BPM, what do you recommend studying? Where should they start? Which courses should they take? If you are a beginner now, what would be your first steps in the field?
Yeah, so I think it will be very good to have some analytical skills. And because of that, you need to probably have you can be like business analyst or business and system analysts in the beginning. Maybe also to learn something about process mining. There is like a lot of very good a lot of courses in Coursera, done by Will van der Aalst, of course. So yeah, they are really great. They can introduce you into this field. To attend some great conferences on business process management and process mining also. I think that you can ask a lot of questions to all the people all over the world about how it's done, what are you doing, and so on. And also there is like a few books I would recommend. I just it's like my library here, like in front of me. So I would say I have to take my glasses on. So yeah, so I would say that the first this is a Goldratt. It's a goal by Goldratt. He's the author of Theory of Constraints also, and it's like more a novel, like a novel which tell you the story about process optimization. It's really good. It's really, really good. So it's like a goal, then you have goal 2. So yeah, you have these 2 books by Goldratt. And also, I would say this is a very, very good position. It's like by Marlon Dumas, Marcello La Rosa, and Jan Mendling also. And it's like business process management, probably. I think because I have it in Polish right now, so I don't know the name of the book in Polish, in English, but it's like it's something like with business process management.
Yeah, I believe that's the name of the second book is Fundamentals of Business Process Management.
Okay.
We are now working with them to translate it to Portuguese because, it would be very helpful to have it in Portuguese. You already have it in Polish, but
yes,
don't have it in Portuguese yet, but we are working on that right now. So probably in a few months, we'll have it also. Olga, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your insights, and your experiences with us. Your story is a proof that leadership in BPM is not just about process, but also about people, technology, vision, and the courage to make an impact. So once again, thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure to having you here. Would you like to have any final words for our public here in Brazil?
Yes, of course, and it was really great to be your guest, and I hope that you have any like great insights from this interview, and maybe somehow, even if it's like, even if this interview is an inspiration for even one person, it's really, really good. And if you have some questions, just do not hesitate to ask, and I will try to answer those questions, and keep fingers crossed for you girls to be very, very successful in the business process management field.
And to our BPM Girls community, thank you for being here with us. If you enjoyed this conversation, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a little bit of inspiration today. Let's keep building our strong and inclusive BPM world together. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.